Waste of Space is a game on Roblox that recently hit 100,000 visits. It's been described as a cross between No Man's Sky and Factorio, with a classic Roblox building style. In it, you can explore any numbers of over 1,000 planets in hundreds of star systems. Players can explore each of these planets, colonize them, build factories on them, design their own ships, even fight NPC aliens, which admittedly are quite rare. The steep learning curve, however, is often an insurmountable problem for new players. And since most of the other tutorials for Waste of Space are borderline unwatchable, I've decided to make my own. The following will be a basic rundown on what you need to do to get off of a starter planet when you first start out. Alright, so the first thing you want to do when you start out is get a basic extractor from some iron and then place it on a seam of stone. Then configure the extractor to extract sulfur. Now, it's important that the first letter in the word is capitalized. Next, mine the seam of stone until you get a piece of sulfur. Craft a wire from a piece of copper, and together with the sulfur it's going to make a battery. We're going to be using batteries to power most of our early infrastructure, so you're going to need a lot of sulfur. Our next priority is to set up iron and copper production. And in case you're wondering, no, it's not sped up. I just am that good. One important mechanic you need to learn in Waste of Space is locking. When you press C, you get a small bar, a menu, that lets you lock things. If a thing is unlocked, anyone can move it and use it in crafting. If it's locked, then only you can move it and it cannot be used in crafting. Nights in Waste of Space can get very dark, so it's very important to make night vision goggles. Now, to make night vision goggles, you need two main parts, glass and rubies. Rubies are surprisingly easy to mine. Just go up to a seam of stone and mine until you get one as a random drop. Glass, it's a bit more annoying. To make glass, you need sand, and since I'm a bit too lazy to go over to the beach and collect it, I'm just gonna pulverize some stone. If we feed stone into a powered pulverizer, it'll give us sand, and if we feed that into a kiln, it'll give us glass. I'm gonna spend a minute or two just trying to rush to get these goggles done before the nightfall. To use night vision goggles, select them in your toolbar and then just click anywhere on the screen. It'll amplify the light, allowing you to see, but it tints everything green. It's going to take me a few minutes to connect wires up between all the extractors so that we can power them more easily, so in the meantime I'll tell you more about the game. For our ship to work, it's going to need propulsion, life support, control, and some navigation and a hyperdrive. For propulsion, we're going to be using an ion rocket. Ion rockets, when powered, let you move in any direction at a set speed. Anyone who's played Build and Destroy will recognize this as literally the same thing as a conveyor. However, the maximum speed of an ion rocket is 100 studs per second, so if you want to go faster, you're going to have to look into getting some better propulsion. For life support, all we need is a single air supply hooked up to power so that we can breathe and stay alive in space. A hyperdrive lets you move between regions, so if you're at one planet in a solar system, it allows you to move to another. If you're in one solar system, it allows you to move between solar systems. It's extremely important for transportation outside of a planet and a nearby orbit. because you can get up to space with just by moving straight up with an iron rocket or another rocket or something like that. But to go to a different planet, you're gonna need hyperdrive. Out of these, control is probably the simplest. All you need is a simple vehicle seat, and that lets you control the orientation of your vehicle. Navigation consists of a star map and a telescope. The star map shows you nearby star systems and their coordinates, and all the planets and their coordinates in your star system that you're currently in. The telescope, though, is very important for scouting out planets, since if you put in the exact coordinates of a planet in it, it shows you all the resources, habitability, temperature range, and some more information about the planet, which is very important when starting a colony. As you can see, everything we're setting up here is going to be powered by batteries. It's a lot easier and simpler than setting up burner generators or even a steam boiler, especially at this scale. Now that we have a steady supply of iron and copper, we can start producing ion rockets, the main component of a hyperdrive. Now, probably the best form of power generation on a starter ship are solar panels, since in space they work pretty much anywhere and they give you a steady trickle of power to charge stuff with. However, solar panels do require a lot of silicon and quartz. In later tutorials, I'll show more game mechanics like programming, reactors, better ship design, and alien hunting, but for now we'll just focus on getting off a starter planet. Now I'm going to start building a basic ship hull. The other way that vehicle seats can control your ship, other than controlling the direction, is with buttons. Now, if you set a button beside a vehicle seat and configure it to a certain keybind, whenever you're sitting on that seat and you press that key, that button is activated. To toggle your engines on and off, you need to use a switch to be able to turn the flow of power to them on and off. To control the switch, you need a polysilicon attached to a button that is touching the vehicle seat. The button connected to the vehicle seat picks up the input of you pushing a button on your keyboard. Then the polysilicon, depending on how it's configured, either turns off, turns on, or toggles the switch. And the switch works as a wire. If it's turned off, power cannot flow through. If it's turned on, power flows through it, powering the engine. Since engines all produce a bit of heat when they're on, it's a good idea to have a cooler attached to the same wire as they are, so that when it's active, the net temperature stays the same. Because if you're in a really hot planet or nearby some extractors, that little bit of extra heat can be enough to burn your engine. On a lot of planets you settle, getting wood from trees and grass from the ground is going to be impossible because they're sterile. For those situations, it's always good to bring along a hydroponics bay. This lets you grow grass and wood, or even sticks, just from water and electricity. Now, for some reason, while I was recording this, polysilicon got glitched, so you couldn't change the mode it's in. But for you, this is probably going to work. So, mode 1 polysilicon always turns whatever it's attached to off when it gets a signal. Mode 2 turns it on and off, it toggles it, and mode 0 turns it on. It's usually a good idea to set up your star map and telescope in a way so that you can shut off power to them, because when your only way to generate power is with solar panels, you want to conserve as much as possible. Make sure to stock your ship with bins of resources because it's going to make starting up a base on another planet a lot faster and easier. And I almost forgot to add this, and it's an extremely important thing, a spawn point. If a spawn point is locked to you, then instead of respawning at a random spot in the region, you respawn there. Always have one on each of your ships. Here I accidentally pushed the button on the hyperdrive, however the effect of it will be the same as if I just flew up until I hit the edge of the atmosphere. And here we are in space. Now for the purposes of demonstration, I'll warp to a system to show you how it works. And that is how you get off of a starter planet in Waste of Space. Now remember, this isn't the end, it's just the beginning. Also, please subscribe to my channel.